Dana here, and this is the Ann Arbor Summer Festival series, where we'll chat with people in the know about Ann Arbor's most anticipated festival. The main stage offers world-class performances right where we live, and we're going to get the lowdown on the 2018 lineup with Executive Director Mike Michelon and Kari, Landry, Marketing and Programs Manager for the Ann Arbor Summer Festival. Welcome back, Kari, and welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having us.
So we're first going to kind of get to know you a little bit, Michael, because we've never met you before on the show.
Yeah.
So are you a native to Ann Arbor? Were you originally from Ann Arbor? Or did you come here for school? Or?
Like so many people, I came here for school and decided to stick around. I think the city's got a way of kind of holding on to you, and glad I did it.
Were you from Michigan originally, or?
From Illinois originally, moved to Michigan because of Dad's work, and stuck around, finished high school here, and then came to Michigan and stuck around Ann Arbor.
So you went to the University of Michigan. What was your background field?
Theater. Started off in the design and production world, thought I wanted to be a lighting designer and stage manager, and then got really interested in arts administration and helping artists, helping arts organizations, and have been doing that ever since.
That seems like a nice segue.
Yeah, I think it gave me a good core skill set and experience in the creative process, and certainly has helped me be a better arts leader.
So you've been with the Ann Arbor Summer Festival for some time. How long have you worked for the Summer Festival?
4 years now. 4
Okay.
years, and originally handling their business and operations as general manager, and part of the programming process, and then in this role in November.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
So have you found any challenges like filling Amy's shoes? I'm
Yeah.
sure they're hard shoes to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are plenty of challenges. I think that I was certainly fortunate that I was handed an organization that was in really good shape and that has wildly popular events, and so that makes my job easy in a certain sense. People look forward to what we do. We talk a lot about how everyone takes our call. I think that so many people have great experiences with the festival, either grew up going to it or are active participants now, and so it's easy in that sense. And it's been kind of a period of a lot of great conversations, hearing people's stories, and it's been a fun couple of months.
What were you maybe most excited about when taking on this role, or even maybe now coming up, seeing the festival actually come to fruition?
Yeah, I think that this time of year is really exciting because the things that the programming, the music, the spectacle, these things live on paper, live in our heads, on a computer screen, and so now we can kind of see them come to life. And sometimes they turn out how we imagine, other times not at all, but still good and still exciting.
Yeah, because you guys spend the majority of the year just working up to whatever festival we're going into. So this 2018 one you've been working all year on.
Yeah.
And now it's like when it's done, what is that feeling like when it's done? Is it like, we did it, or like on to the next?
Yeah, there's a little relief. I feel like we're either planning for the next year, we're in it and focused on executing it, or we're kind of thinking about what it is we did and how we did it and how we can get better at what we do. And so there's a little sigh of relief this year. Right around now, we're focused on kind of telling our story and letting people know about the events, but also there's a small window before things start where we can kind of look to 2019, 2020, just a little bit. And then dive right into it.
Well, I'm sure part of it in the planning process is, we have enough people for this year, and maybe you get some ideas for next year as you're going on.
Certainly, yeah. I think that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the main stage acts. I think one of the biggest names we had was Ani DeFranco.
Yeah. So we're super excited about this season, and Ani kicks off our season on June 5th at the Power Center, and it's 3 days before Top of the Park starts. But a great way to kind of get excited about the whole lineup to follow. And for people that don't know her, folk rock artist, she's known for being an entrepreneur and started her own label. And certainly her activism and her lyricism are well known. And what's great about Ani is she's played Ann Arbor a number of times over the years and puts on a great show. Ann Arbor audiences know her, and we're we're excited to have her on our season.
Is this her first time with the summer festival lineup?
No, not her first time at the Summer Festival lineup. I think it's been about 12 years or so since we've last had her, and she had a new album last year called Binary in 2017.
So is that kind of the music we might expect to hear?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And maybe some classics.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll mix it in. And,
Yeah.
and there'll be crowd pleasers. And then a singer-songwriter named Haley Hendricks is support on this tour, so she'll be.
Okay. Is she
she'll
opening?
She'll be opening, yeah.
Yeah.
Her at 7:30, then Ani to follow.
And where is that at?
It's at the Power Center.
Are all the main stage acts at the Power Center this year?
All but one. One kind of special presentation. That,
The Illusionist?
At the Illusionist table, yeah. And that's an exciting one as well. And then after Ani, I believe that we...
Oh, yeah, the next show up is Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox, which I think is one of the shows I'm personally most excited about because these guys are absolute internet YouTube sensations. And
I've never heard of them, so why don't you, can you explain what they sound
So
like?
they have a series of rotating musicians and artists that they have in basically their crew, and they take, some of today's biggest hits like Bye 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 or All About That Bass or, whatever it is,
Miley
Rihanna,
Cyrus, yeah.
Miley Cyrus,
that's fun.
and then they take it and then they put it into like 1920s style music. So it's all vintage and smoozy and, like wearing like flapper dresses and like cocktails, and there's just like this real air about them that's just like super cool. And so they have, billions and billions of followers now on YouTube for their videos, and they keep producing just tons and tons of content. So if you go and you watch them online, you're just going to get lost in the many, many hundreds of songs that they've made.
Well, and it's always nice to go see songs that like when you can hear and have a different spin on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're excited about. The audiences. So there might be take a family. There's parents that are into the clips that they're hearing, the styles. Maybe they saw Pink Martini on the Summer Festival season before, and they like the fact that Postmodern Jukebox similarly is multi-instrumental and different genres of music. But then their kids are going to want to go because they know these songs from Top 20 on the radio.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of speaks to our audiences quite a bit.
Have they toured before, or is this kind of...
This is their first time in Ann Arbor. They've been around Southeast Michigan before, so there's a good chance that people in the area have seen them live, and their live show is absolutely spectacular.
Really great following. They were in
Yeah.
Detroit in February, and we've been trying for a few years to get them to come to Ann Arbor, and glad that they did. And the other thing is, a lot of former American Idol and Voice stars have found a lot of success as a part of this group. They have a rotating ensemble, and so the personnel changes show to show, city to city, but there'll be some names I'm sure that people recognize from past TV fame that are great.
Well, it's nice to know that those American Idol people can actually
Find
get
some work,
work.
yeah, they can, and they do a great job. The videos are really neat.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they've always been talented people once you
Oh,
get to
yeah.
like that certain level in the show. But then,
Yeah.
there's only the one winner, and a
Yeah.
lot of times those people kind of disappear too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have to say that some of their renditions and their covers of these songs, I actually like theirs better. I mean, they're so beautiful, and what they can bring out of the lyrics in a completely different way.
Well, and
it's
that's
too
coming
cool.
from a musician yourself.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
That's true. I think that this concept's really neat. Scott Bradley, the guy behind this ensemble, the composer, he was having trouble finding work when he was starting his career and taking kind of rehearsal accompanist jobs and things. And he got some friends together and started recording these videos in their basement, and kind of first had a presence on YouTube before they ever played a live show, and got this incredible following. And so, yeah, this thing that's lived in the computer is kind of
It's amazing to me how these YouTube people just get these huge careers
Yeah.
based on just being on YouTube.
Yeah.
But they're real road warriors. I mean, they put on a great show and they tour a ton. So they have
Well,
the
and I
stage
think
presence.
the music industry is just so hard to break into that at least there are venues like YouTube where you can kind of get a following and then get some
Oh, yeah.
recognition for
Yeah.
your work.
Absolutely.
So who else are you maybe excited about seeing this year?
Well, the next show that's coming is actually a fantastic family show called Airplay, and it's by this company called the Acrobufos, and they were actually at the Ann Arbor Summer Festival in 2016 for the outdoor water balloon gladiator
Okay.
spectacle performance. So they should already have a ton of fans, right here, because that show was drop dead hilarious, and they were just an amazing duo. And so this is now their indoor performance that they're bringing to the Power
So
Center.
it's different.
It is different.
Yeah, totally different. They create this wind tunnel on stage with this actually very complicated but simple system in a way with these fans, and they take the audience on this really wonderful journey that's got a great message that's 60 minutes in length, and there's some really fun technical things and clowning and such, but they involve the audience in their show. And I think what's great about it is that it's family, it's all ages. We say 5 to 105.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're really excited about it.
So when you have these sort of technical performers, do you guys have to accommodate that, or is it like the Power Center's kind of helping them get?
No, it's us and our team, and I think that sometimes shows are more ambitious than others, and certainly it's different than just a concert, and it'll take some extra time to kind of figure it out. But it's a really neat presentation. I don't think that people have seen this type of thing before, so it'll be neat.
And it's completely. They have fabrics that are flying out into the audience. The stage turns into this larger-than-life snow globe. There are giant balloons that they float inside of. There are balloons that are floating out into the audience, so they almost like completely transform the space three-dimensionally as well. So
great props,
great props. Yes, and if you're one of the lucky people that get to go up on stage, you'll be part of those awesome props.
But those are usually like maybe the first few rows, or are they picking?
I don't know.
Oh, so you could get any tickets.
You never know. Yeah.
They've been touring a lot and have been a great success in New York in February, and we're excited to have them in Ann Arbor.
So then, what's next on the agenda?
Yeah, so
keep cruising.
After that, Jasmia Horn, this really incredible rising star in the jazz world, this jazz vocalist. She's 26 years old, and she is the winner of the 2015 Thelonious Monk Prize, or competition rather. And this is one of those situations where we're really lucky to get her. She's on this rise, and we got her to come through Ann Arbor, and I think that not everyone knows the name now, but it's one that they will. And so if they take the chance,
check her out now.
Exactly. I think that if they take the chance and go to the concert, they'll continue to start to hear her name. And she's nominated for a Grammy this year with her album A Social Call.
A Social Call.
And lost out to another former festival artist, Cecile McLaurin-Salvant, but. She's phenomenal, and we're.
Well,
really
I mean, it has to be amazing just to be nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah.
Like you don't actually have to take home the prize; you just have that like recognition.
And you should all go online and check out her performance at the Grammys. I mean, she was just so commanding in her presence and her skill. It was one of the most memorable things of the night, and she has this kind of old world jazz, Sarah Vaughan-esque style mixed with like Mary J. Blige, R&B, pop, because of like her upbringing and singing like gospel music in her father's church. So I mean, it's this great melding of all these different cultures and all these different worlds, and not to mention she's so young and just such an amazing talent. So, and that's on the 28th at 8 p.m. at the Power Center.
And do you have more shows after that, or
I have a couple more?
Yeah. Should we tell you about them?
Yeah. Yes, you should.
What do we
No,
have
keep
next,
me in
Kari?
the dark, please.
Capital steps.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a surprise for anyone that's been paying attention on what our July 4th show may be, but it's the Capitol Steps, and I think that it's safe to say, without saying anything more, I think that if anyone's paid attention to politics or civics this last year, there's just as much material as ever for the entire spectrum.
Maybe Stormy Daniels will show up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no comment there. But I think it'll be a great show. It's a summer festival tradition now, and I think.
How many years has?
We think this is 19. I think
19.
19.
Yeah.
Wow.
19 out of 35.
And you keep
so.
people keep buying tickets, so they're into it.
People keep buying tickets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they keep coming, so they must like Ann Arbor.
Yeah. And so that's July 4th at 4 p.m. So it'll be super fun for the holiday.
And the nice thing is you can go to the show and then you can still enjoy some fireworks later.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And then the final thing we're really excited about. I mean, we're excited about everything. We're really excited about this one, and it's a show called At the Illusionist Table.
Yeah, this one I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This one takes a little bit more explaining, I think, if folks that just took a kind of cursory look at our program.
Yeah.
What is this exactly? So it's this guy named Scott Sylvan. The show's called At the Illusionist Table. It's running June 26th to July 2nd.
Yeah, there's a few opportunities.
Right.
There's a number. I think that right now we're up to 13 shows. And it's at the Ann Arbor Club, which is this private social club on Liberty and Main above Cherry Republic. and they're opening our doors to us for this kind of special presentation. And the artist is Scott Sylvan, and he's a trained illusionist, a mentalist, but he's a storyteller, I think, more so than anything. And over the course of this 3-course meal with wine and whiskey pairings.
Oh, so you're eating too. It's
Yeah, the ticket's for all that. So
Yeah.
I don't want, there'll be some sticker shock, I'm sure, but it's for the entire.
Yeah, it's a whole experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's for 22 guests at a time, and he takes you on this really incredible journey with stories of growing up in Scotland. Certainly involves tricks and things, but it's a sensory theatrical experience, is what I would say. And the food really plays a role, and great conversation with presumably strangers, unless you're going with your friends, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be really neat.
Wow.
And it speaks to a type of presentation that we want to do more of. So certainly the Ann Arbor Summer Festival is known for music, for concerts, for this spectacle. But I think that presentations in unique spaces, off-site, out of the auditorium, that
The unexpected.
the unexpected really speak to the types of things that we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at the sticker price of that, I was like, it's got to be, I mean, to be asking that amount, it's got to be an amazing experience to pay for something like that.
Right. I should say it's $200.
Yeah.
And yeah, that includes the meal. It's a high cost show, but a high production cost as well.
It's probably be a night you'll never forget.
I believe so. I believe so.
Is that it? Is that all the scheduled, or do you have more?
That's all of the main stage.
Yeah.
That's all the main
So
stage.
when you are booking these main stage acts, do you have in mind like you want a variety? Like you're not going to get all jazz or all rock or something like that. You want to have a variety for the viewers.
I think absolutely. I think that we really try and tailor what we know, what our community likes, and then a lot of things like Mike was saying about the unexpected that we can bring here that maybe people haven't discovered or don't know exist before. But I mean, especially with shows like Airplay, I mean, we love to cater to the Ann Arbor families here, so we want to make sure that something like that is there for the season. And
there's always a family friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, and I think that we certainly try for a mix of types of shows, but then something funny also happens that we're maybe working on something for multiple years, and it finally lands, and maybe one season is a little more music heavy in a certain genre, other seasons are maybe more the circus or theatrical end, and it just kind of, so best laid plans, right?
Yeah.
And things that you've been working on for a few years just kind of come together. But I think that mix is important. I think that really speaks to the festival experience, and I feel like something that's on a festival bill is a little bit different than seeing a concert somewhere else, because you're going to come for that, you're going to discover a couple of other things. It's kind of the pairing of these things that makes it special.
And it's almost like people are putting a lot of trust in you guys, because some of these artists, like you said, they maybe have never heard of them before, but if they have faith in the festival from past experiences, they'll know they're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's not something we take lightly, and it also takes a long time to build that up, that people can kind of, I'm going to go see these 3 artists because I've been waiting all year for them, or I know them, but then these things I'm going to take a complete chance on. And the festival's got a history of giving me a good experience, so I'm going to trust them. So.
Well, and like I'm assuming at the Illusionist table, this guy's never been to Ann Arbor before. I'm going to take a guess, throw that out there.
No, and not a ton of U.S. engagements either.
Well, that's what I was like, where is he
thing.
from? Because usually I feel like they're from other countries.
In the UK,
Yeah.
and he had this, he's been touring with this production quite a bit with a ton of success, and so he had these multiple week sold out runs at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and then has had some U.S. engagements in New York, and for us, he'll be going to the Luminato Festival in Toronto, coming to Ann Arbor, and then heading out west to a festival in Nevada before.
Okay, so
before
he's
heading
kind of.
back,
I mean, it's not even that close together. After Ann Arbor going to Nevada, so.
Yeah, we were really lucky that we were able to kind of snag him.
Yeah.
So. And really, we decided on a week of shows because we weren't quite sure if people would get it, but it's been wildly popular, and I wish that we could have 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, because you said, 22 people per engagement, so.
Yeah, so
I mean, it's
so,
really a small crowd.
Very intimate.
And there are some tickets left, but it's we're up to 13 shows now. It's been going fast. It's been hard to keep up.
We're going to just talk about the other spectacle things you have going on at the top of the park. They're free, but they're unusual, very unique to.
Yeah.
So,
So the first spectacle that we have out at Top of the Park this season is an Italian aerial theater company called Eventi Verticali, and this is on June 19th and 20th, and there are 2 shows per night at 7:45 and then again at 9:30 p.m. And what they do is they have this giant vertical screen stage that's going to be suspended out at Top of the Park, and then they're hanging from these cables and wires, and they're doing their show suspended vertically on a vertical stage. And so it's this blending of 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional because of the video projections that are going to be on the screen behind them. So it looks like as if they're jumping through the
Wow.
portals on the screen. And so they're blending all of these old vintage video games and this cops and robbers-esque kind of show that they're being chased throughout the performance, and then they're suspended over the audience as well throughout the whole presentation. So it's definitely using a different space at Top of the Park that we haven't been able to before, and something that's going to be truly memorable. This company is just so creative, and so the show is called Wanted, and that's the cops and robbers
Really neat,
theme.
yeah. Yeah.
well, we talked about before that you guys have to accommodate this sort of stuff. Are there any safety concerns when you're helping create this performance?
The good news is that no one's making this up in their garage, and it's not. I mean, we have a lot of local artists, but we're not asking people to kind of
Yeah.
come forward with crazy things.
Right.
They're professionals, and they tour.
They
and,
know what
and,
they're doing.
Right.
And then we work with professionals too that they spend a lot of time on rehearsal and setup and technical specifications, and it's exciting, definitely. But a lot of work goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have ants.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ants is the other kind of big spectacle presentation, and it's this by this children's theater company called Polyglot. And in our audiences might recall a number of years ago we brought them with this show called Tangle. And
I remember
and
that.
if you remember
Yeah.
Tangle,
Yeah.
yeah. And so they're experts in this work for children. And Ants is this really cool project where 3 human-sized ants enter this public space, and they're just on a hunt for food. They're kind
Yeah.
of ignoring the kids at first. And the food is not the kids. The food are these crumbs.
Giant
these
breadcrumbs.
giant breadcrumbs, and there's hundreds of them, and they're on this public green space, Ingalls Mall in our case. And at first they're kind of ignoring the kids, and slowly the kids start to participate. They start to bring them into this performance. Before long, the kids are kind of dictating the experience. They're dragging these crumbs along. They're forming waving lines. They're kind of all these participants and these ants are just part of this like larger thing that's happening, and it's really neat.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
And it's definitely a spectacle to watch too. If you're not a kid,
You're not involved, just
Right.
sitting there.
because it is for
Yeah.
children, young children. It is a spectacle. It's kind of a study of complex systems, watching all these things unfold, and so it's
Yeah.
really neat. And so that's June 26th through the 28th. There's a couple of performances in the late afternoon at Top of the Park, and then on the 27th, we're going to have a special pop-up presentation off-site. So the same show will happen, but somewhere else in Ann Arbor. We're still kind of deciding on
It's a
location.
secret right now.
And then we'll announce it, and that way people can kind of experience it in a different place earlier in the day if they're not able to make it to the summer festival at night.
All right, well, let's go back to, those are free. Those 2 performances
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
free. But do you have any ticket programs going on this year for people? For
Yeah,
the main stage?
absolutely. So we have student ticket prices. We have $20 student ticket prices for a few of our shows. And then we also have a ticket program for young professionals in Ann Arbor that offers some discounts and then also some meet and greet opportunities. And we had an Instagram naming contest recently for this program, and it's now called Perks and Rec, per the public. So you can join Perks and Rec if you're 25 through 40, and then you can also get some great deals on a lot of these main stage shows, and then also a great opportunity to interact with a lot of these artists after the performances as well.
And there's multi-show discounts if people buy more than one. I would say that there's a few things like airplay that while there aren't discounts or children ticket prices, the whole show is priced lower on purpose to kind of average those things together and take into account accessibility as best we can. So yeah.
Early bird? Am I making that up?
Yeah,
Early bird ticket prices?
I think so.
Okay.
It's okay.
I don't know everything. That's why you can
Maybe we'll start it.
Maybe that lives somewhere. We should That's good.
Well, before we go, why don't each one of you kind of tell me what you're most excited about for this year's main stage?
Yeah.
And kind of give your recommendation as an insider.
Ooh, so I would say I'm most excited for the airplay performance, and this is only because I got to see it about a half year ago, and I was going into it, from the mindset of like, I'm a kid, what am I going to expect in the show, and it just had so many different layers to it.
We were trying to determine at the time whether or not to bring it.
Yeah,
And
and I
Kari
went to see it, and,
Yeah.
and they did a presentation that was strictly for an elementary school, basically. Like they bussed in a lot of kids to a theater, and they did the performance, and I was just so blown away by all of the level of messaging and how carefully crafted it was. And so that show, to me, I was so surprised by how just moving it was, and the beautiful technical skill behind it, and what the theater was transformed into. So I'm particularly excited to see it again, and also for this community to experience it.
There's Kari's pick.
Yeah.
Mike's.
Jasmine Horn, I think I'd have to say, there's a lot of great things in this season, and a lot of really neat things that we brought purposely because I think that they're unexpected or people haven't seen them through town before. But for me personally, I think that Jasmine Horn, she'll be a household name, I'm sure, someday, and I'm glad that we have her here in Ann Arbor.
All right, well, thank you both for sharing your knowledge on the Ann Arbor Summer Festival.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
If you'd like to watch this or other CTN series, visit a2gov.org/watchctn. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to get outside and enjoy all that the Summer Festival has to offer.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.